Good morning, dear students. I hope that everyone is fine and safe at home. And as you already know that in previous lecture we have just started this chapter, Understanding Secularism. That is the second chapter of civics. And in this chapter you have already cleared the topics or discussed the topics in previous lecture. That is meaning of secularism, necessity of separating religion from the state, Indian secularism, steps taken by state to protect secularism in India. Yes, now you have done these concepts in previous lecture. So in this particular lecture, I'm just going to explain you meaning of secularism once again, and that is separation of religion from the state. And the Constitution of India provides individual and group freedom of religion according to articles 25, 26 and 30. And this idea of secular state, who elaborated it? That was elaborated by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So after this, we'll continue our chapter with strategy of secularism. Strategy of secularism. So what do you mean by strategy of secularism? Strategy of secularism, there are three types of secularism. There are three strategies of secularism. The first is non-interference, second is intervention, and third one is distancing from religion. But in this particular lecture, we are just going to discuss about two strategies of secularism, because students, in your book only two strategies are mentioned. So now we'll talk about non-interference strategy. First of all, we'll discuss about the non-interference strategy. This is non-interference strategy, and through which we can achieve our secular objectives. Non-interference, what do you mean by that? Which means state or government doesn't interfere in religious matters with which sentiments of the person attaches. So, in order to respect the sentiments of all religions, state usually not interfere with religious practices. Now, what do you mean by religious practices? Religious practices means that a person has some norms and customs related to his religion which he has to perform according to his religion, and he is totally free to do that. But in this regard, state makes certain exceptions for particular religious communities. So if we'll talk about this, we'll just come to know and we'll understand this concept with example, and that example is, see, there are two persons who are going by a scooter, and one is Hindu and another belongs to Sikh religion. As you can see that person is wearing turban. Hindu has to wear helmet while driving, but Sikh has no compulsion to wear helmet. If Hindu doesn't wear helmet, he'll be fined. But if Sikh person is wearing turban only and he won't wear helmet, then he won't be fined for this. Actually, what is there? There is exception for Sikh religion, that they have turban on their heads, so they don't need to wear helmet and they won't be fined for this. So in this way, we can say that government doesn't interfere in religious matters, but that they just make some exceptions for some religious communities. Now the next strategy. Next strategy of intervention, I have already told you about non-intervention strategy, that government or state doesn't interfere in religious matter. But now question arises, and what that question is, can I do anything in the name of religious practices and government will not interfere? Yes, dear students, what will you say about this? The answer is no. And with this, we got second strategy, and that is strategy of intervention. No doubt that government doesn't interfere in religious matters. But I will like to tell you that if you will say that you can kill anyone, example, sacrifice human beings in the name of religion. So dear students, you can't do that. You don't have that authority given by the government that you can kill anyone. You don't have that right. You are doing crime. So if you will say that you can kill anyone, you can discriminate, or you can just do injustice with someone in the name of religion, then you are violating the human rights. So let me clear you that government may interfere time to time, or government can interfere time to time. So in order to prevent this religion based exclusion and discrimination of lower caste Indian constitution, it has banned untouchability and triple talaq. As you know very well that in Muslim religion, they were having the authority and they were having right, just by simply saying talaq, talaq, talaq 3 times, they can just leave their wives. But government banned this triple talaq to just save the human rights of the women and to stop the discrimination with the women. Same way, untouchability. Lower class people were just feeling very bad because upper class people just humiliating them. They were just making them realizing them that they are inferior to the in front of upper class. So that's why they in previous time they were not having any right of drinking water from the wells which were upper class people were using. So due to that, due to the condition of those lower caste people, government also banned untouchability. Now if we talk about COVID-19 or coronavirus, who is there that who doesn't know about this epidemic disease or problem? We'll discuss about this. This is another example which we'll take in our lecture and in this particular chapter. See, due to this disease, Modi ji has closed the door of the religious institutions and banned the entry of people to these religious institutions, which shows what it shows, dear students, which shows that for the welfare of the state, government can intervene. Government will just think about our welfare. So for that, if he had to take strict action and he has to intervene, he will do that, and he has done it. Modi ji has proved that for the welfare of our people, he has taken that step.